Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. We are back once again to bring you a weekly recap, this time of Monday Night Raw, which took place in Indianapolis. The Monday Night Raw is the fallout episode of the Elimination Chamber. Speaking of the Elimination Chamber, we see a quick recap of all things Elimination Chamber before we see a very unhappy Paul Heyman at ringside, along with Austin Theory and Logan Paul. It's clear that they are unhappy with Logan being cheated out of his chance at Mania by Seth Rollins, who ended up being one of those mini masked figures. They declare that they're not leaving until Seth comes out, but instead are greeted by Adam Pearce, who comes out and says they are the ones that need to leave because they will not be holding the show hostage. He should then be the one to talk to Rollins, as he's not yet medically cleared to compete. A few more masked guys appear and are chased off by Logan and Theory until Paul Heyman is left alone in the ring. We then see Rollins land a chair shot and a stomp on the Oracle, who is then helped to an ambulance and escorted off the premise. Unfortunately for the Vision and Paul Heyman, the driver of that ambulance ends up being L.A. Knight. This is an entertaining moment, but all things seem to be against the Vision right now. But I suppose that is what happens when you terrorize the entire roster for as long as they did, and you lose your two biggest enforcers along the way. Then get into our first contest of the evening, which has Dragon Lee going up against the ring general Gunther. Continuing this feud here, Dragon Lee ambushes Gunther before the match actually starts, but it doesn't take longer than the actual commercial break this match leads off with, as when we return from said break, Gunther does have things under control. Gunther keeps this control for most of the match until the end, when Dragon Lee really has things going his way, and it feels like maybe could actually pull off the win. The ring general, though, does end up locking in the sleeper and rips off Dragon Lee's mask in the process to get the win. This is awesome chance from the indie crowd, and I do have to agree this was a very good contest. And I can't imagine we're quite done with this rivalry yet, as obviously Dragon Lee did get his mask ripped off, and that is never taken too lightly by these luchadors. We then see our new Women's Intercontinental Champion, AJ Lee, in the ring. She is elated that she has that IC title around her waist and says she originally came back just to snatch that red hair off Becky, but happened to get a title along the way. AJ then goes on to say that now that Becky Boo Boo is in her rearview mirror, she's looking ahead to WrestleMania and she's going to be a fighting champion. If anyone in the back wants a shot at that championship, she will be waiting. I half expected someone to come out right then and there, but no one does end up doing so, just getting that babyface promo out there for AJ saying that she's going to be a fighting champion. There does seem to be a lot of those on the roster currently, but no complaints from me. Later on in the evening, we do have an official announcement that there will be a gauntlet match next week on Raw to determine that number one contender for AJ Lee's Intercontinental title. The next match of the evening has the original El Grande Americano going up against Rayo, who is accompanied, of course, by Bravo and the authentic El Grande Americano. The original El Grande Americano, of course, has his hands full by Bravo and the original El Grande. However, the original El Grande does find a way to get the win here in a decent match that has him getting a win by hitting a chaotic German suplex to get the win over Rayo on this occasion. I imagine, as we've been saying, I imagine this rivalry will lead us up into Mania, and we will finally get that original versus authentic El Grande Americano. And as I said from the beginning, I'm all here for it. I just wonder if the original El Grande will eventually get some support on his side as well. We then see Rusev climb up onto the announce table as he demands Oba Femi come out and face him once and for all, to which Oba quickly answers the call. Oba and Rusev are quickly standing face to face, and little time is wasted before fists begin to fly. There's a pretty big moment here, and a pretty I think maybe could have been held off a bit longer, but regardless, Oba gets the better of this particular situation this time, but I do have a feeling that the Bulgarian Brute will be back for more sooner rather than later, and I have no issues with this being Oba's first big match on the main roster. Our next match of the evening has half of the World Tag Team Champions Jimmy Uso going up against the Vision's Austin Theory. Unfortunately, this match doesn't get hardly any time at all before Logan Paul interferes and the match is cut short. But the numbers game is eventually neutralized as a returning, can we say that? Can we say returning? Jey Uso does come back down, and the Vision is left scrambling back up the ramp. So originally, I kind of thought with Logan Paul and Seth Rollins was the clear future ahead, but maybe this was just a one-off. But like I said earlier, all things seemingly going against the Vision here, and even the Usos taking care of Austin Theory and Logan Paul, maybe kind of points to the direction that maybe Seth Rollins isn't quite ready yet. But regardless, like I said earlier, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Before the next promo, we do see a Danhausen promo in the back who is providing a soggy list of demands for Mr. Pierce and the Judgment Day before our next segment. Yeah, like I said from the Elimination Chamber reactions, I'm all here for Danhausen. I love the character and I love mixing it up. Just having some funny moments in between the serious moments is always fun, and I don't think something we do quite nearly enough in the current product. Our next promo has Rhea Ripley being interviewed after her win at Elimination Chamber. She is accompanied by her former tag team partner, Io Sky. Io tells Rhea that she'll be just fine on Raw and that she needs to go over to SmackDown to become the new WWE champion at WrestleMania. Rhea basically confirms that she's going to do just that and stares directly into the camera and warns the current WWE Women's Champion, Jade Cargill. So I guess that's the official end of Rio, or at least we're taking a break from it. Regardless, I'm fine with it. I think Io, like basically, they just went on to say, I think Rio will have no issues with Jade, and I think Io is part of that women's #1 contender IC match next week as well. So, like I said, I think they both will be fine. Looking forward to where they both go from here. Our next match of the evening and our final match of the evening has Penta getting another shot at Dirty Dominic Mysterio's Intercontinental Championship. Dominic is accompanied by JD McDonough and Finn Balor. This one is going along quite nicely when Dom finally asked JD, his Judgment Day brethrens, for that ring bell hammer once again. JD happily goes off and grabs it, but Finn does stop him and kindly reminds him that Dom said he wanted to do this on his own. Back in the ring, Dom tries to hit a 619, and Penta avoids this, then to hit a Mexican Destroyer and get the win over Dominic Mysterio, and is our new, surprisingly, Intercontinental Champion. So finally, at long last, Penta finally gets some gold and gets that Intercontinental Championship he's been chasing for so long. And just a great moment here, and very happy for Penta. He deserves it very much so. We then get into our last segment of the evening when we are joined by the OTC, Roman Reigns, who is only able to demand the local indie crowd to acknowledge him before the World Heavyweight Champion himself, CM Punk, joins Roman in the ring. Punk says it's a good thing he has these bags under his eyes because he has to carry the OTC's bullshit all the way to WrestleMania. Roman then says that we brought Punk back to satisfy the 40-year-old virgins who still live at home with their mom and dad. And he said we also brought you back to sell some more merchandise and to sell out a few shows in Chicago. Punk then threatens to bury Roman and says he'll no longer have to be alone as he'll be next to his father. Some big lines there, and per usual, but not their best. But I think we do have 6 more weeks to go, so I don't think we'll have any shortage of moments between these two, hoping Roman can stick to a full-time schedule in the meantime. But regardless, I'm looking forward to seeing what these two can bring to the table and up until WrestleMania. But yeah, that's Raw recap here overall, and I think overall it was a decent show. Definitely better than last week. Last week was not a great show at all. I think I dubbed it the worst of 2026, and this one was definitely a step up from that. Some decent in-ring action. I think the highlights of it being the Gunther versus Dragon Lee match, and getting some more clear kind of picture going forward for WrestleMania, as we should, only being 6 weeks out at this point, and getting a good promo between Roman and CM Punk there at the end, and showing kind of how behind the eight ball division are. It's kind of crazy how fast that whole situation has turned around. Of course, the highlight of the evening being Penta and his match with Dominic Mysterio. Penta finally getting that Intercontinental Championship win. Congratulations to him. Can't wait to see where we go from here. And hopefully, Penta has a great reign, great and long, successful reign after how long it took for him to get it. And I assume we'll also see the Judgment Days falling out, kind of fallout of the Judgment Day at WrestleMania as well. I had always thought it was going to be for that title, but thinking about it kind of longer since that's happened, I suppose we really don't need that. But regardless, should be a great contest. But for now, this has been the latest Raw recap. Please let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button as well, as it does help us out tremendously over here at The Push. We'll be back shortly with that NXT recap as well as that SmackDown recap. We will also have our Vengeance Day predictions and reactions this week as we continue also to work on our WrestleMania project. But until next time, this has been the latest episode of The Push with Nick and KP. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Take care.